Hey guys, it's vf.miniatures Warhammer Tactics series, and today we're going to talk about my top 3 Black Templars character combos. Black Templars are now in a very good spot because of the lack of Armor of Contempt. It's gone, and now the 5+ invulnerable save that they have access to is as good as it ever was. And being a close combat chapter, they were already in a good spot, I think, in the 9th edition, where close combat is so important. So I understand why many players now are looking at starting their Black Templars collection and hoping to help with this video. So without further ado, let's dive right in. And a little disclaimer, so today we're going to discuss the characters that I think are good to run. It doesn't mean that you have to have these characters in each and every one of your Black Templars lists. There can be great lists without one of or all of these characters perhaps. Though without a Chaplain, it's unlikely. But in any case, I don't want you to feel discouraged or think that you must have each and every one of these. No, you don't. So, the first one is Apothecary combo. It costs 95 or 100 points depending on which version you go for. The Primaris one is obviously a little bit more expensive because nowadays the Primaris character and the Firstborn characters are mostly the same price because the Firstborn ones get access to more expensive wargear, so that's kind of the compensating factor here, but apothecaries don't really get any special wargear, so there should be a price difference, and the 5 points is where it is. Obviously, we take Chief Apothecary upgrade for 30 points, that's just a must-have. Black Templars are very good running a lot of elite infantry because they get that protection from the 5+ invulnerable save like aggressors. Terminators don't really care about the invulnerable save because they already have one, however they do care about the baby transhuman. Toughness 4 Terminators not being wounded on 2s is very important, especially considering that Terminators are the target that you want to shoot the strength 8 and higher weapons at, because that's where damage 3 usually lies. So if you're spending points on the Apothecary, you might as well spend points on the upgrade for him. So his warlord trait is absolutely going to be the Selfless Healer. Selfless Healer is just too good not to take. It's the heal 3 wounds on a model, so you can heal up to, I think, 2 Terminators if you're running like 2 squads, or you can heal a model in the aggressor squad and the model in a Terminator squad or a character. You got the point. And you can, the most important part is revive a model for free. It can be an Outrider, it can be a Terminator, anything. Especially important if you are running the Terminators with upgrades like Icon of Hindman, which is probably what you're going to be doing. You want to revive those sergeants with a bunch of points and upgrades in them, and that's why you need an Apothecary with that trait. For his relic, there's nothing better than the Crusader's Helm, which is one of the relics you get access to in the Black Templar supplement. It's a very, very good one. It allows you to bump up your aura of 6+ Feel No Pain to 6 inches instead of 3. It's still not great, but 6 inches is much better, and it allows you to have a higher chance of actually using that Feel No Pain aura on more than one unit, because as soon as you start using that on multiple units, the value of your Apothecary goes up exponentially. And also it gives you an ability to apply a Salt Doctrine to any core unit within 9 inches. Obviously important, as Black Templars do want to move through doctrines quickly, but you still cannot get to the Salt Doctrine quicker than for turn 3, unless you use Adaptive Tactics, which is not really what I'm talking about here. So you want to have any way possible to move into the Assault Doctrine, especially now when Armor of Contempt is gone, and you will be fighting against a lot of Space Marines, and bumping their save down by another 1 point of AP is important. So yeah, Apothecaries are great as they always were, especially now when with Black Templars you can have an Apothecary and not fill up the Elites slot easily, because you get 3 extra slots just for your characters in the Elites, and you can take all the Dreadnoughts, all the Elite squads you want, and still have the Apothecary. So it's probably a must-have unit if you want to build your list as competitive as possible. Next is the Chaplain on bike. That's a model you will probably see in every Black Templars list just because of how good it is, how efficient it is. 435 points, and that's including the Master of Sanctity upgrade. You get a very fast platform, relatively reliable compared to many other characters Space Marines have, and the one that will give you all the buffs you need, and Black Templars are very good with Chaplain lineages. This is basically your second best choice after Grimaldus, because Grimaldus, in my opinion, is the best Chaplain you can get, but you will probably be running 2 Chaplains minimum anyway. I imagine a Black Templars list with 2 Chaplains always, probably a Marshal or Helbrecht on the third slot, sorry. And the third one will be either a third Chaplain if you are Chaplain crazy, or maybe something like a Lieutenant, because having that reroll 1 to wound and not spend the CP every turn for the Wisdom of the Ancients to get that, it can be good. Is it better than having an extra set of litanies? I don't know. That's something that you will have to figure out for yourself. You probably always want 2 Chaplains, because in the litanies of battle we have the 2 automatically important ones is the Canticle of Hate, which is +2 to your charges. You always want to charge as Black Templars, and charging more efficiently, more reliably, that's where you get that reliability. It's from Canticle of Hate. And the Exhortation of Rage is also important, because you don't get many other ways to get +1 to wound, not really. You like get +1 strength from Helbrecht, which can be sort of like a semi +1 to wound in some cases, but that's even better to have an access to +1 to wound and to +1 strength. That can mean that your Lightning Claws, for example, can wound stuff that they are not supposed to wound on 5s, on 4s, and better still. So a very, very important set of litanies of battle. And obviously in litanies of the Devout, it's our 5-up shrug, it's +1 attack. So yes, multiple Chaplains is the way to go. So as I said, we're gonna make this guy a Master of Sanctity, because we want him to do 2 litanies, obviously, and we want the Wise Orator Warlord trait on him, because that's the best Warlord trait you can get for the Chaplain. And as our main objective is to make his litanies go off every time without any problems or a chance for failure, I think the best relic for him is the Ancient Breviary, which is you can roll 2 dice and pick 1 instead of rolling just 1 for your litanies. Yes, Tannhauser's bones are great, they allow your Chaplain to stay alive longer, but in my opinion, you should keep your Chaplain away from harm just by keeping him away from harm. Yes, it's great to have an extra layer of safety for him, but choosing between a more reliable litany and a defensive relic, I would probably go for the more reliable litany relic. There is also an alternative combo, which is basically a fighty Chaplain. There is place for characters like that. I do think that having a crazy murder machine in your back line or advancing right behind your avant-garde and charging out of that shield wall when the time comes is a good and solid strategy. It's just you have to balance your list in such a way that you will not regret not having that reliability in the litanies, because you will not be able to have both things at once, reliable litanies and a very fighty Chaplain. Though we do have bombastic delivery, which allows us to automatically recite 1 litany and still have a chance to do the second one. So if you go for the combo, I would probably save up CPs to use the stratagem every turn. So use it on, for example, your Canticle of Hate, and then roll the 3+ for the Exhortation of Rage to see if you are successful or not. And this way you can spend the CPs on your relic, so have the Benediction of Fury for the damage 3 and potential mortal wounds, and have the Warlord trait for the fightiness, so like Master of Arms, or the second trait, which is the Imperium Sword, my favorite one, +1 strength, +1 attack, and rerolling charges. Wonderful trait, and especially great on the Chaplain, because I think the Benediction of Fury is strength 7, so it pulls you over to that strength 8 threshold. And the Master of Arms Warlord trait is +1 attack and fight first. A very good combination, because just having the fight first is probably not enough to validate spending a command point on a trait, but +1 attack and fight first is great, and it can save your character's life or kill a bunch of opponents' models in a clutch moment. very, very often. It always makes me laugh that there are things like, for example, in the Blood Angels Codex, I don't remember the name, I think it's like Speed of the Primarch, it's the warlord trait that gives you fight first, and that's it. And in the Black Templars book, we have a warlord trait which gives you fight first and +1 attack. Things like that should be eliminated in the Games Workshop rules building, rules writing process, because it makes players hate their own rules, because there should not be a trait which is just simply better than the other one in the same army, in the same faction, which is Space Marines. And the next combo, the last one, is Marshal. So Marshal is our Black Templars captain. He costs 80 points, and that's not much. He has the good power sword, mastercrafted power sword, and basically is the equivalent of our Indomitus captain, but he doesn't have the fancy shield. He has a plasma pistol instead. A good model, looks awesome in my opinion, and the combo is as follows. Obviously, I would always recommend to run Helbrecht, because Helbrecht is just better. He gives you +1 strength aura, he is much beefier in combat, and he does not require you spending command points, which is also very good. His base is bigger and a lot of other quality of life things about him, but if you're not running Helbrecht for some reason, this is your next best choice, because you do need reroll ones in your list. You do need that reliability, and you do need someone who can fight well, and a Primaris captain can fight well with some help. So you can either go for buffing combo or the fighty one. I personally prefer in this case the fighty one, just because he would do his buffing job good in any case, especially if you already gave the Crusader's Helm to the Apothecary, which is probably what you've already done if you're building a list and following this video. So he probably cannot get the Crusader's Helm for himself because it's already taken, and his Aura Real ones is still there, so why not build the fighty combo? But in any case, if you're not building the fighty one, the buffing one is the Crusader's Helm and the Rights of Warlord trait for OBSEC. And as far as I understand, the Rights of Warlord trait will be also affected by the Crusader's Helm, so your aura of OBSEC will be 9 inches instead of 6. Very good combination and a very good buffing character. But the fighty one is Blade of Judgment for damage 3 power sword, and any sword which is damage 3 is great, especially with this amount of attacks. And Master of Arms or Paragon of Fury Warlord trait for +1 strength and mortal wounds on the charge. That's the Paragon of Fury or the Master of Arms. We've already discussed that. Fight first and +1 attack. I also think that the Imperium Sword is also great. +1 attack, +1 strength, and the reroll charges. Probably that's the best one. And second place is Master of Arms, and the third one is Paragon of Fury. The mortal wounds are situational, but are applied to every unit within engagement range when you charge. That's from the Paragon of Fury Warlord trait, and can be helpful. And if you are sneaky and put your base in such a way that it gets a lot of stuff into engagement range with it. So that's it, guys. Let me know if you have any other better character combos, and maybe you have discovered something much more powerful than I did, and I'll see you in the next video.